Hi and welcome to this Forex Market Outlook with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. Today we're going to go through a few charts of interest and what basically we could expect for the week ahead. Now, some charts are already moving. Obviously, one in particular is the pound. That is due to obviously over before the weekend, the United Kingdom left the European Union. So we're starting to see some speeches from Boris Johnson and the EU talking about the potential for a trade deal and what could be negotiated with that trade deal and things like that. So it's putting a bit of pressure on the pound at the moment, because the United Kingdom and the EU are both basically flexing their muscles at the moment, saying they'll only do a deal if X, Y, and Z happens. Boris Johnson has already come out and said, look, this is what we want. I'm happy to walk away as well, which brings uncertainty with it as well, which is why we're probably seeing this drop in the pound currently, as well as the dollar being a little bit bid this morning as well. So what we're seeing is the pound drop, and to me there's a couple of levels of interest. So these lows in here around about the 129s or 1.3s, big level on pound. You can see it is decent level that the market has bounced from recently. So, if the market can break below here on a daily perspective and give us a nice close below, there could be some potential to look for some further downside into this 128 level. Obviously, we could react and bounce back up, keeping the market in a little bit of a tight range, which wouldn't really interest me all that much. But a break below would be interesting on here, because that 128 could be a good target if the price does drop any further. So keeping an eye on pound here. A good chart to watch in terms of trading the pound short would be against your safe haven currencies such as the pound yen. The market is again back at some key support currently, so what we'll be watching for is a break below. If the market can take those lows out, close below, then it's all about looking for the retest continuation moves at that point. But it needs to take that low out. It needs to close below on the higher time frame, whether that be a daily or anything like that. But looking at the monthly, we're quite bearish here on pound yen in terms of nice inside bearish candlestick after the market's rallied and retested an area of resistance, which would suggest to me we're going to see a little bit more downside to the pound yen market. So just looking for those key opportunities in line with the strategy. So just looking at that 50 200 moving average, are we going to see that break? Are we going to see these averages cross over to give us some opportunities to the downside? So continuing to watch that on pound yen, which would be good to see into this week or next. Going back to the charts now, there's a bit of support level coming up for Aussie. So we've talked about this last week with the potential for the Australian dollar to continue to move to the downside. Now, our strength and weakness tables do suggest that the Australian dollar is at an extreme weakness, which isn't surprising due to obviously the outbreak of the coronavirus and whatnot. But we have to understand that these markets breathe. They don't just jump straight in straight lines. They don't just move in a straight line. You get these pullbacks here and there. So we need to understand that. And to me, the market's at an extreme. We're coming back into the key level. If we do get to this key level, there could be a significant reversal. And we could reverse back into some key daily areas, especially this sort of 6,755 area, that key low through there. So keeping an eye on Aussie dollar, because I don't want to be short approaching this key zone, because it might not actually get there. What I do want to see really is some kind of change in cyclicity, and what I mean by that is some highs being formed and higher lows. So at the moment we have these real nice low, lower high, lower low. Are we going to get a nice little head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern to maybe suggest that we're going to see that upside? That's what I really want to take away from this market. So a nice pushback down into that 6670. and then we'll look to action some positions with a potential reversal setup. Okay, the dollar on the strength and weakness has dropped slightly, and the reason being last week there was a significant drop in that dollar strength. If I just go to that weekly time frame, zoom right in, we can see here that there was a real nice bearish lower low lower close candle, but today we've already kind of broken the 50% of that candle. I think looking at that fib, we're just around about the 50% mark of that. Now, typically when the market does form a bearish candle or a bullish candle or some price action, I would anticipate that continuation the week after. It's very much like this scenario here. We were bullish, you know, so we had a nice bullish candle. I expect the bullishness to continue the next week and the next week into key resistance, and then it's about assessing what happens at that point. And we had a big rejection, so to me we could see a little bit of downside into that 97.10. Now, looking at the seasonality reports recently, you know, usually through January we have a big boost up, through February we have a little bit of decline, and then March we have another rally. So it wouldn't be too far out the window for me to suggest that, you know, the market could drop slightly, maybe back in towards these lows, and then we rally through March again. So, you know, that could be something to watch out for. And the hourly chart currently, it's coming back up into some key lows. You can see just up in there around about the 97.80. We're approaching those key lows. The moving averages are crossed. We're in that overbought condition, which could suggest that if we were to find some bearish price action in here, that we could see some downside out the dollar, which kind of coincides with the euro pulling into some areas of support. So a couple of areas I like on euro. The recent breakout area in here is something that I like, and this sort of area there, because looking at the weekly, again, we bounced quite significantly off that low that we targeted through there. Nice bullish candle suggests to me that we could see another week of bullishness back up into these highs. I'm just going to drag that out so you can see that, into those highs around about the 112 area. So we could be on the cards for a little bit of upside here on Euro USD, and the hourly chart just drumming into this zone now. You know, we're in that oversold condition. Let's wait and see if there's any sign of decent price action. If there is, then there could be some moves on the cards just through there. So that's what I'm watching this week. In terms of just looking at those major currency pairs, you know, that safe haven could still continue to gain value. So still watching those yen pairs. Just need to be a little bit cautious as they have moved quite a long way now. So we could start seeing a bit of pullback, but I'll keep you up to date as much as possible. But I hope you enjoyed this video update. And yeah, I'll catch you very soon.